And then we'll go ahead and get started. So this, Teddy, I know that you've been, oh, here's Allison. Hold on, let me get her in as well. Liz, I am so excited that you are inside Booked Out Blueprint too. I've gotten some really great feedback and really good stuff. Allison, hello again. 2 times in one morning. I'm so lucky.
Good morning.
Um, Allison, do you know Liz? Liz, do you know Allison? Do you guys know each other?
We've been in space a
Mm.
couple of times.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. You are both incredible women. So I'm like excited to have you all in the same place today. So I was just Allison giving the spiel about I know it's Monday. I know it's the Monday after Christmas. We can dive in. We can hit the ground running hard if we want to. We can also just take it easy. This is really just going to be up to you guys and how we want to use this time. I know that Teddy and I don't know, Allison, I think you were working. So the previous two Booked Out Blueprint calls have been a little bit different in the sense that I was kind of leading them and teaching and like guiding in them. I really feel like I do a lot of the guiding and the teaching inside the audios. So I wanted to open it up to more of like, how is this working for you? How is this going inside your life, inside your business? What questions do you have? And use this time for that. We'll see how it works out that way. If you prefer that I like teach and you just come on and listen, that's totally fine too. But I kind of wanted to play with this and see the Booked Out Blueprint. It has become so much more than I initially thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like a 6 week, like in and out thing, but in true Sandy fashion, I get into something and then I just am like, I can't, I can't just half-ass this. Not that I was going to half-ass it, but there's just so much to it. And it's become, I think, a really cool program to really understand what you actually need to be doing in order to get people and clients into your spaces. So, with that being said, we are officially, I think the email went out last night, starting phase 4. So, phase 4 is going to be all about the consistency and, really using consistency to your advantage. This program also has, I've realized that it's not a like one and done type of thing. We're setting the foundations and then we're creating habits out of those foundational things. So it's not like you do week 5 and then you're done with week 5. It's like we're continuously like building on top of these things to create habits and consistency in your business so that when you do sit down to work your business on the back end. I know we hear that phrase all the time. I'm working my business on the back end. It's like, what are you actually doing that is generating revenue? And we know that there are 2 parts to this. There is the sales part, which is the bulk of Booked Out Blueprint. And there's also the marketing side, which is included because they really do work together. And that's really this week what we're talking about inside of, I think it's week 8 this week. So how it'll kind of go Liz, just so you know, I know you came in like partway through the program. I kind of revamped it a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a phase and then we're going to do a call and then another phase and then a call. So the calls are not necessarily like every other week. They're just where those phases kind of wrap up. And at the end of every phase, there's also an implementation week, which I feel like is really important if we're going to like sustain this, because I don't want to overload you with too much and feel like you like can't keep up. And then because I can't read a calendar, there happened to be 2 implementation weeks that happened, which I think was totally fine. And I don't think anybody was like in a hurry or a rush to like get more. But that's kind of where we are at as far as Booked Out Blueprint goes. We've done a lot. You've done a lot up until now. So just a really quick, let me just grab my notes really quick, a really quick little recap. So in phase 1, we really set the foundation for steady sales mindset, for money mindset, for all of the things that come into sales and selling. And when we sit down to work our business. So, and that audio that week, I feel like that first like real chunk of audios is a really good one to go back to when you kind of start to waver or when you kind of feel those like old beliefs or old thoughts kind of coming in. We've talked about where clients actually come from, how to really do lead generation, different places to find people to come into our spaces from, what to do when we get them into our spaces, how to have those conversations. Phase 3 was all about content and like what kind of content am I using to speak to high intent buyers? What is the decision making process that they go through? That everybody goes through, even when they are deciding what to, have for dinner. So we went through that. We went through the content phase, and then now we are the in the consistency phase 4. And we also, of course, talked about the lead tracker and how important that is. Hopefully you have all had a chance to kind of get comfortable with your lead tracker, to create it. And also, if you haven't, that's okay too. Wherever you are in this process is totally fine. And it's your business, your lifestyle, and this program isn't designed to like go through like all at once. Like, you space this out however you need to. So with that being said, I would love to hear from you all. If you're open to sharing just where you're at, what your takeaways have been, what has come up, and of course, any questions that you have or anything that you want to work through together here. This is really where we get to dive in and make this work for you and your business. And this is probably the only time that I'll run this program. Well, never say never, but I'm running this program live. It is designed to be able to just be consumed like, what is that called? Asynchronously, by yourself. So yeah, this is your chance to really get in, and we can work through all of this stuff together and specifically into your business too. So Teddy said I can't go first, but happy to share. Yeah, for sure. No problem. So Allison, you want to hop in
Yeah,
there?
sure. I was rocking and rolling and really getting so so many great things, Sandy, in this program. And then I hit I think it was phase 3 with the content
Yep.
and all the stuff happening with in my personal life
Yeah.
kind of halted me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I listened to it but I haven't done anything with it. So I thought, you know what?
Yeah.
I feel the need to kind of maybe go back and
Yeah.
re-listen to even phase 2 again and get myself back into
Mhm.
the habits of the lead tracker. I was doing getting really strong at that and building that habit. So I want to kind of build that habit again before
Yeah.
I go back to the content.
Yeah. Okay. I'll speak to that. And I just want to say, if you got into phase 3, and I was very much like, I was kind of back and forth about even including phase 3 inside of this program, because you know me, and I am very much like, I enjoy creating content. I know how to create content. I can coach you on how to create content, like all of the things. But I truly believe that that's not where like all of our time and all of our energy, especially in the beginning phases of business, when we're getting clients, when we're building up, clientele, when we're getting that recurring revenue built, I really don't believe that that's where all of our time and energy should be expended. And I see this happen very, very often, where people will put all of their time and effort into content and say, I posted, why is nobody buying? I posted and then I waited and nothing happened. And then we get frustrated, and it's this like cycle of, well, then maybe I
Mhm.
need to create more content. Maybe I need to do more. And it's more is never, ever the answer. The reason, though, that I included phase 3 in this program is because I do believe that content does play a role. It supports the sales that we're doing. And so if you were to, it's almost like I see our content as like a portfolio, or like a living, kind of breathing scrapbook, I guess, of like what we're doing, what we're offering, the results our clients are getting, all of these things that do help to prime our people and to make them aware of what we're doing. So it is important in a way, but it's also not everything. And if you listen to the first part in phase 1, I actually say in like the very first audio, I go, if this is going to overwhelm you, or if this is going to feel like too much, just skip this whole phase and go like to the next one, because it doesn't, like, you don't have to do it. So definitely recommend like going back. Phase two, you're right, Allison, is really about creating habits with that lead tracker and getting used to doing those activities and blocking time every day. And I don't mean time blocking, I just mean making time every day, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe it's in pockets of time to bring new people onto that lead list and bring new people into your world. And I gave you a plethora of like options and things, not saying that you have to do every single one of them, but really playing with it and finding what works for you, what works for your schedule, what works for your life. And then exactly what you said, getting into the habit of doing those things. And this is not about perfection, 100% not about perfection. It is about exactly what you just described. Like I was on a roll, I was doing the thing, and then life happened, family stuff happens, holidays happen, whatever, like things happen, and then kind of falling off. And then just giving yourself grace to like get back on. And the second time you get back on is going to be easier than the first time you did. And same with the third time, same with the fourth time. So it's really just about stacking these habits. But yeah, going back and re-listening, you think absolutely 100%. I would be curious, Allison, for you, where, so you said you got to phase two and then you didn't do phase three, which is totally fine. We just started phase four, so you're not technically you're not behind at all. What was your biggest takeaway from the first part, the first couple of phases?
Definitely, the strengthening, like the money mindset. That's always
Mm-hmm.
been like a big issue of
Mm-hmm.
teacher brain, like, oh, you just do it for free, just
Yeah.
just do more, just do more.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so like just re-strengthening that. But I really enjoyed phase two and getting into those habits.
Mm-hmm.
And just recognizing that like where I have my clients, they did
Mm-hmm.
not come from the content, they came from personal connections and reaching out to people and nurturing them, based on that. And so just kind of thank you for that, kind of giving permission. I definitely want to go back to phase three at some point,
Yeah.
but I definitely see a ton of value in the lead tracker and connecting with people. And I recognize that, like, hey, like, I may be in my mind, like, nurturing them because I've been putting out content or sending these things out, but like, that's not necessarily like what they need.
Yeah.
Or, right, like, and then also not just nurturing in a friend way, but like then also like, um, hey, this sounds like something that you would need, and actually like putting out the offer to them. So,
Yeah. Taking that, I mean, that's like leadership, right? That's authority. That's knowing when and where. And it also requires intuition too. I really do think sales requires you to tap into like read the room, like what's going
yes.
on here. And I would never ever ask or want, and I never do anything that would make me feel uncomfortable. And I always think about like how do I want to be treated? How do I want to be sold to? And then doing that and knowing when it's time to say, okay, like, and again, detaching from the outcome and not letting it mean anything about you, not letting the yes or the no mean something about you or your business or what you're going to be able to create. It's just giving people an opportunity to say yes. And yeah, I love everything that you mentioned here because you're right. The money mindset is a huge thing. And that's why it's number one, because if that's not at least addressed and started to like pull apart and be like, where are these beliefs coming in? It's almost impossible to sell if you feel like icky about selling.
Hmm.
It really becomes something that's difficult. We don't want it to be difficult. We want it to be something that just is natural and it happens and it's no big deal and it's easy peasy and it's just totally fine. And yeah, the habits, I think, of course, yeah. And I love what you said about the clients. When you look at your data,
Hmm.
clients aren't coming from content, clients are coming from relationships. I think
Yes.
that's a huge thing. And it's hard sometimes because we do feel like I know for me when I first started doing this, I was like, wait, like this feels funny to call me just like getting to know people and like understanding more about them. It feels weird to call that work because that's like what I like. I mean, I'm like, I like to know about people. I like to understand what, so it was like counterintuitive of like, that's not work. Work needs to be hard. Work needs to
Yes.
be like, you need to cry and work really hard. And you need to like, like in teaching, right? You work
Hmm.
really hard for not a lot of money. So I need to be working really hard. So allowing it to kind of be easy and allowing that shift to happen where, yeah, when I'm sitting down to work my business and I'm just having conversations with people and I'm getting to know them and I'm like learning about them and their lives and their business and in relation to what I do, that is working my business because that's where essentially the sales are going to come from. The hard part about that is knowing that the sale may not come like 5 minutes later. The sale may come a month later, or weeks later, or months, even years sometimes later. And that has to be okay. Like we have to be okay with that. But it's a shift in I'm not getting to know them to sell them something. I'm getting to know them because I just want to know them. I care about people. I care about my people. Could this be my person? Like, I don't know. Let's have the conversation and let's find out. So I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that perspective. I think I was draining myself so much, like posting
Mhm.
daily on my Facebook page, and then I just went to zero because I was burnt out.
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to shift it from like not necessarily like I'm going to try to sell on that,
Mhm.
but just connecting with people. And then
Mhm.
obviously, if I see there's, and using my intuition, then reaching out and, using that lead tracker to,
Yeah.
make those sales.
And there's definitely a time like in your Facebook group too. I mean, you again, I always put myself in the like consumer spot. When I'm in Facebook groups and all the person is doing is like selling, 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 I'm kind of like, I kind of get turned off by that. I don't really love
Mhm.
that. When I'm in there and I'm feeling inspired and I'm feeling in community and I'm feeling like, ooh, and then she drops something that's an opportunity, I am all over it. I'm like, yes, but it's again, you use your intuition to kind of feel out. So to feel out where it feels good to sell. The issue usually becomes with that when we're not selling at all. Like we're not
Mhm.
giving people an opportunity at all to understand this is how you can come work with me. This is what it looks like. This is how you can do it. There definitely has to be a balance. And in, I think it was this week, in week 4 or phase 4, week 8, whatever we're in, um, I even say, I'm like, there's no like magic formula. Like people oftentimes will ask, like, well, how many times should I post like an educational post? How many times a week do I need to post a reel? How many times a week, da 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 da. It's really just about allowing yourself to like, what's coming through for me right now? What's happening in my life right now that is also relevant to what my ideal client is going through? And then just sharing from your heart, whether it's
Mhm.
educational, whether it's belief shift, whether it's, a hard pitch, as long as you're showing up and you've created some sort of consistency within your life and your business. So when I say consistency, I don't mean post 2 times every day, 7 days a week. Like maybe that is you. And if that's you, great. And you enjoy that, great. But it can also be, not but, and it can also be 3 times a week. And if I hit 2, then great. It can be, I'm going to shoot for 5, but if I get to 3, I'm going to call that a success and wonderful and give myself that wiggle room because that was a game changer for me as far as content goes. Because if, you guys probably all know my story, you've heard it at some point. When I started my business, when I launched my business, I said, okay, I'm going to spend a year and I'm going to post every day for a year, like Monday through Friday, every day. And I did that and it completely like did not do what I expected it to do, which was bring clients in. It burned me out so much to the point where I was just like, oh, I gotta post today. Like what like bleh, like not cool. So it's not always about more. It's about being really intentional about what you are doing and also being aware of like how you're moving people through this process versus just showing up like I was and just posting something to post it, right? Like how are we intentionally moving people through the process of becoming aware of our work, um, showing them that this is how it can help them specifically, and then allowing them to understand what to do when they want to, when they're ready to come in. Like, that's all it is.
That's so good. I love that.
Yeah.
And I definitely resonate with burning out and like, and so I'm looking forward to using the strategies from phase three into that and just using my intuition to feel like, okay, does this feel good? And, um, for my people.
Yeah, exactly. And does it feel good to me? And is this
Yes.
what's on my heart? Not really forcing anything. I think we kind of get stuck in the like, I gotta force this, I gotta say the right thing, I gotta, and if we can just let go of that, be like, okay, I'm just gonna speak and move and be intentional. And also, another thing for you all is to think of phase three, because phase three is about content, is to think of phase three more of a menu versus a like step by step type of situation. So like all of phase three, and I say this in the audios this week, I say it doesn't matter what you're posting. If you grab, like if you close your eyes and scroll and just grab something from phase three and you go with that, if that feels good to you, it's going to do its job. Like it doesn't have to be in a specific order. It doesn't have to be a certain time. But I will say too, as far as content goes, is just auditing every so often, like once a month, maybe the beginning of the month, end of the month, whatever that looks like for you. But looking at where am I heavy, like what kind of posts am I posting quite a bit of, and what can I maybe add in here to speak to people in that process of, moving them from cold, warm, hot. So cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Liz, or Teddy, you want to go? I see you just unmuted. Well, maybe she didn't unmute.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay.
There we are.
That
Oh, wait, now we can't hear you. Can you guys hear her? Teddy, we can't hear you. Holding on, no problem.
I can go real quick.
Yeah, please.
So I'm just kind of getting back into everything. I'm in the booked out membership, so joining in this. So really just learning everything and getting back into the swing of things and working on setting up my systems on what to do on a daily basis and get that momentum going again.
Yeah, I love that. How far into Booked Out Blueprint are you?
I think I'm on like the fourth audio.
Okay, so you're still pretty early on. Okay, good, good, good. Yeah, so definitely everything that I said definitely applies to you. And I'm curious, when you say getting back into the swing of things, what does back in mean?
I feel like kind of after I graduated, I kind of just took a step back. Personal life kind of got out of control for a little bit and just working on reining all of that back in and then dealing with my energy levels and just I was not motivated like this entire month to do anything. And really like since Christmas has been over, I'm like, all right, let's get back into it. Let's do this.
Yeah, yeah, I feel that. I feel the part of like the unmotivation part too. And it's hard with the holidays. I think December is just a weird month because we're
Yeah.
pulled between like, what I want to do and what I feel like I should be doing, and the pressure that I'm putting on myself to like, oh my God, don't take your foot off the gas pedal, or else we're going to be like starting from ground zero when we hit back, in the new year. So I definitely, definitely feel that. And a big part of the membership too is learning how to take that pressure off of yourself and just really stand in the belief of like, what I do is enough to produce the desired result. And then we come into the, well, what I do, what is it that I'm doing that, like, what should I be doing? So I'm not just essentially wasting my time, because I know I spent a lot of wasted time in the beginning of my business. In hindsight, like I needed to learn those things, of course, but like let's not waste your time. Like let's make sure that what you're doing is really focused on revenue generating activities. That's what I call them. And Booked Out Blueprint is going to set you up to understand, like, when I sit down and when I work my business, what exactly am I doing? Like, how am I actually using this time? And how do I call, like, what do I get to call success? Even if there's no sale, even if there's no new client, what is actually a success? And what that does is that allows you, because what typically will happen, and I say this from lived experiences, we sit down to work our business and then our brain is going to go, oh my gosh, what do I do? And then it's this like pinball ping pong game back and forth around, should I check my email? Should I create content? Should I do this? And then we start all these little things and then we have all these open loops and we don't finish anything. And we just feel like, did that do anything? Like, did that do anything? And the answer usually is no. If we're ping ponging back and forth and we're focusing on the easy things like checking email or creating content, or I don't know, all the things that, and I struggle with this. The girls know, like, you guys know, when I sit down to co-work, every time I'm like, it always baffles me how hard it is to keep my attention in one tab or one spot or one task, because your brain just wants to go, ooh, that sounds easier. That sounds easier. That sounds, checking your email. Ooh, clean your inbox. Like, that's easy, versus doing the things that are going to generate the relationships and the revenue. It's tricky. So Booked Out Blueprint is going to give you that, like, what do I do when I sit down? And another little tip too for everybody is, when you go to sit down, like, you really should try, if it's possible for you, to have a chunk of time that is uninterrupted, at least 30 minutes per day of like your business time. So that doesn't include client delivery. It just includes like you working your business, you revenue generating activities, you doing those revenue generating activities, whether it's 30 minutes, 2 hours, whatever you got. And you can even break it up into 10-minute chunks of time if that works best for you. But before you do that, is to like map out, what am I going to do during that time? So that when you sit down, your brain isn't going to be able to like argue with you or like, negotiate with you about what it is that you need to be doing. It's like, this is what I'm doing. It's written down and this is where I'm going to focus my time here. That can also really, really help, because your brain always wants to do the easy thing. And a lot of the things that are required of us in our business is required, like, it's going to make us uncomfortable.
For sure. Sorry, my dogs are barking.
No,
But
you're right.
yes, definitely feeling that, because I did make me like a little Notion board and I broke it down into like different categories of what I need to be doing. But then even when I'm in there, I'm like, okay, well, what else do I need to be doing? So very excited to jump back into everything and create my structure.
Just out of curiosity, if you're open to sharing, what are your categories in your Notion board?
I'll pull it up real quick.
Yeah, please. I think I'm always intrigued too. I know when I was like, I feel like now I have a good handle on, like, I know what I need to do, but like in the beginning, I was always like, what do other people do? Like, what are other people doing? What does it look like when she sits down to like do her business, So I'd love to hear what your categories are.
Yes, I broke it down into visibility, outreach, content, business admin, and even did an emotional aspect for myself for regulating.
Ooh, I love that. What's in visibility? What's under that?
I have reply to comments, reply to DMs, add at least one IG story, and reach out to my low-hanging fruit.
Mm-hmm. Good.
Then outreach, reply to a story watcher, follow up with a warm lead, send a hello message, and then content, update ideas, film video, write it out, and then all that kind of stuff.
I love it. Okay, so tell me the categories one more time: visibility, outreach. So you'll see how Booked Out Blueprint, when you get into phase 2, you'll see everything that you're saying is going to fit in there somewhere. Tell me one more time: visibility, outreach, content,
business admin, and then emotional regularity.
The one thing I would say is missing in there is selling.
Yes.
because you
Yes.
have like that's a whole thing in itself. So
Yes, I
add
definitely
that
need
in
that.
there, and then
Yeah.
things that we would include inside that like that category for like selling would be reaching out to people with a direct invite, creating a story sequence that invites people into the offer. That's kind of more of that kind of is more content, but like a direct invite into the offer. Um, Also under like marketing content would be taking the copy from that story sequence and turn it, you just put it in Chat GPT and just say, hey, without taking away from the original copy, please turn this into a high converting sales email. That could be something. Working with your lead tracker, you'll learn, you probably already, it sounds like you already have one, which is good. Um, Getting on sales calls is one for sure. Booking sale or not booking, scheduling sales calls, inviting people onto coffee chats, checking in with people about like, hey, I just saw this and I thought of you, or I just came out with this and I thought of you, like, and you'll hear all of this inside of the Booked Out Blueprint, but just to give you some ideas, it's like a starting point of like, what am I doing? And I always used to say like to myself too, I'm like, you do this sell, because I would avoid selling like the plague. Like I was the very much the girl that was like, I'll just wait for people to like read between the lines and they'll reach out to me and they'll ask me and they'll just say like, where do I sign up? And it'll be so easy. So I always would say to myself, you have to like do something. I literally would force myself for like a year straight. I was like, do something that makes you uncomfortable. What is it that makes you uncomfortable? And do something every day. And it was always doing what I just described, like getting on a sales call, inviting people into my space, like all of those direct sales things. Um, that'll help.
Yes. I definitely need to get better about inviting
Yeah.
people to even just get on a call. I've got to get over that little hurdle.
Yeah, for sure. And a little shift to how I see it now is that a sales call, yes, is a sales call, but also I'm not getting on the initial call, and Teddy and I have talked about this a lot. Like I'm not getting on the initial call to sell to them or to close. I'm literally just getting on the call because I want to know about them and I want to learn about them and I want to see if this could be a good fit. So my first like connection call is just that. It's just like I just for people that I don't know or that don't know me or that we're new to each other, I'm like, I just want to hear. And I literally get on the call and I say, you've probably heard me say this. I say, I'm like a really nosy person. I just like to know everything. Like, so please just word vomit. Like, I want to know about you. I want to know about your business. I want to know about what you're building, what your goals are. Like, literally tell me everything. And then they just start talking. And from that, then I can discern, is this someone that would be a good fit? But I don't put the pressure on myself to pitch in that moment. I'll say something like, "Oh my gosh, this was such a great conversation. I can definitely see like how I could support you. Would you be open to scheduling another call?" So I'm not like pitching out of the blue to them.
Mhm.
Or sometimes people will just say, "Yeah, just share with it right now." Like, and I'll just share. So the pressure is off to not like because I remember those days of sales calls, like, I would just all day long just be so worried and in my head about like, "Oh my god, I gotta close the call. Oh, I gotta close them." And now it's just like, I just wanna get to know them, like, that's all. And when those thoughts start to come in about, it's just I'm just learning I'm just making a new friend. And my only goal is, like, that they leave the connection call, the sales call, whatever you wanna call it, they leave that call feeling validated, feeling seen, feeling like connected, and feeling a little bit better than they did when they got on the call. If I do that, then that's a success. And they go on my lead tracker and I initiate the whole like process of nurturing, staying in touch, you know, and it's going to look different for every person because every relationship is different with every person. So again, that's why I say your intuition is so important and to just read the room too. So
Yeah.
does
Thank
that
you.
help?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Okay, Teddy, hi.
Back.
I saw your face for a second and I was like, Teddy,
Oh my
Teddy.
gosh, I haven't showered in like 3 days, so
You're
it's
fine.
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 Yeah, so I was gonna say, when I cut in earlier after Allison and you were talking about content and the content
Mhm.
section of Booked Out Blueprint, that as some of you know, I'm putting out a group program that I'm running with someone else, and I just want to say the content section was like super helpful, especially having the documents within, because I was able to be like, okay, I need to create content. And I tried to kind of batch create it, especially because I was trying not to just be working all the time right now. Um,
Yeah.
and so having those to like click on and be like, okay, this is kind of the types of things that I need to create was really helpful. And we'll see what it does. And I think, I have learned so much from you that like the content is important and that's not what's going to sell it. It's reaching out to people. So I'm in the new phases of that right now. But
Mhm.
as far as Booked Out Blueprint goes, I think the lead tracker was really big for me. That is like, it's like my arch nemesis. I hate doing that kind of work. Um, and the things I've been doing lately, it's proven really helpful, which
Yeah,
is like, I know that it is, but I just like, I hate doing it.
I know.
So
And
I do have to say, I have put it off for the past few days and I need to get back to it, but
yep.
it's
And
also been really helpful for like categorizing people when I talk to them. So, like, for example, there were a bunch of people that I talked to when I ran this, when I did these like coffee cocktail chats,
mhm, mhm,
that were like, I'm more interested in connecting people. And so I was like, oh, a group program would be better for them. So I wrote like group interest on there. Like I added that as a category. And so that was then easy to go down my list and be like, last time we spoke, you were interested in this. And now I have this program. So the lead tracker has definitely been really helpful as much as I hate doing it.
yeah, I know. And I don't, I hate, I will like, I want to be like, oh yeah, the lead tracker. After a while it'll get fun and easy, but I still don't enjoy doing it either. I've
Yeah.
never, I mean, some people like spreadsheets and stuff, but yeah, it is something that is really important. And it kind of gives you a basis too, because I think when we go to do outreach or we go to sell, we're like, well, what do I say? Like
Mhm.
the lead tracker gives you the foundation to be like, oh, last time we talked, or oh, you had, mentioned this the last time, or on our last conversation, whatever it is. So it gives you kind of that basis to kind of go from there. And yeah, I'm glad that the content was helpful as well. um,
Mhm.
Again, the whole phase three can be looked at like a menu, like you can just grab. And of course, I always want things to be easy, for you. And that's why those swipe files are there. That's why I'm like, just take this and make it your own. Yeah. And I mean, just a little reminder for everybody, Teddy, Liz, Allison, and anybody watching the replay here, like, it's not a hard and fast. None of it is hard and fast. It's just these are ideas for you to take and mold and tweak, or if you need to just use them as is, then that's totally fine too. But again, we're getting into the habit. We're creating habits here. We're creating habits to show up and sell our work essentially, and to really understand what drives revenue in our business. And Teddy, like you said, I realized that like the lead tracker, not my favorite thing, but like it's incredibly helpful in pulling people in. And yeah, it's we're creating habits. So if we fall off the wagon, we just say, I'm going to get right back on and it's fine. And I know, Teddy, you were like, I've avoided the lead tracker for the last like couple of days. And I'm like thinking, sometimes I avoid my lead tracker for like, weeks at a time. So don't feel bad. Just get right back on. Yeah.
I do have a question though. At what point, and I'll give you a specific example, but I'm sure this can be generalized to
Mhm.
just lead tracking in general.
Yeah.
So I hosted these in-person gatherings. I posted them on a local Facebook page, got a
Mhm.
ton of interest initially,
Mhm.
and then a lot of those people just like fell off. And so I have followed your lead and reached out multiple times again to
Mhm.
like some of them have responded, but I'm specifically speaking to the ones that I've reached out to now like 4 times and haven't responded. At what point do you just like gray them off your tracker or like I don't,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So good question. Good for you also too to continue to reach out. And this is where that like I talk about this often of like the thick skin comes in of like I don't care if people respond to me. I'm just going to do what everything that I can on my end. So I know when I go to bed tonight, I can say I've done everything that I needed to do. And for you, it sounds like reaching out, 3 or 4 times and then with no response. At that point, Teddy, I wouldn't necessarily gray them off, but I would move them way down. So I'm not putting as much effort or time into them as I would the warmer, hotter people on my list. So they are definitely considered warm because they expressed interest, but I would almost tag them in like a different category of like not responding, only reach out when you have another immediate like another cocktails and
Yeah.
thing coming up or a coffee thing,
Mhm.
and only do one message. I would just
Okay.
like I would leave them, like let them just be whatever, and then the next time you do like a coffee and thing, whatever they reached out about or whatever they expressed interest in, I might at that point pull up that like tagged chunk of people that have essentially not responded and just do
Mhm.
a very generic type of message like, hey, so and so, whatever their name is, hope all is well and that your holiday season was great. I just wanted to let you know that I've got another, whatever it is, offer, insert offer coming up
Mhm.
on this day. Let me know if you want information and then just send it. And then don't worry about tracking if they respond or if they don't. If they
Sure.
do, then move them back up. But other than that, I would just leave it.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
You're
Yeah.
welcome. Yeah, no worries, Allison. You jump off whenever you need to. Um, you guys have also probably heard too, Liv Chapman. You've probably heard her say, like, I just keep like, I don't want to say bothering people, but I just keep like selling to people until they tell me to stop. So, and we all know that like that feeling of like somebody being like, no, please stop contacting me is not a great feeling. But she, like, that's just her thing. Like, she'll continue to like sell essentially until someone says, oh my gosh, please stop bothering me or please stop, like leave me alone. But again, there's the thick skin that it doesn't mean anything about me. It's just they don't want this offer and that's fine. And thank you for letting me know. So now I can divert that energy and that focus into somebody else that is ready. So that's just another little like tidbit you can put in your pocket. The other thing too that I would recommend to everybody, and Erica and I were actually talking about this a couple weeks ago, is when you get pitched to. So like when people are pitching to you to sell you something, always take that opportunity to pitch to them as well. So like it's just practice and it's in a spot where like they're pitching to you and maybe the person isn't your ideal client, but like they might know somebody. So just pitch it and practice it. And they could just be like, no, you're crazy. But that's one like little like tick on your headboard of like, I pitched, I did it. So that's just another little something that you can put in your pocket and take with you just to practice. Okay, how are we all doing? How are we feeling? All good?
I really like that little idea.
Yes.
I just had a girl reach out to me that I used to work with trying to sell me life insurance, and we all know how exciting that is. But
Yeah.
I liked the way that she was like presenting it to me. I did leave her on red, but maybe I'll listen to her little pitch and then I'll pitch back to her. I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, why not? Why not? And you never know. It's not very often that when that happens, the person on the other end is going to be a good fit, but it's practice and you never know, they might know someone. Um, yeah, I love that. And also what you just said brought something up for me too that you all can and should pay attention to is that when you're getting sold to, like when are the moments when it feels icky and when are those situations and moments when it feels really supportive and really exciting and really inspiring. and then realizing that like you get to create the experience for your people, whether that's slimy or whether that's inspiring and an opportunity for them to like step into this next, thing. I pay attention to this all the time, and I always am like, "Ooh, I see what you're doing. Like, I don't like that." Ooh, or "Wow, I really appreciated that. I'm so excited about this opportunity, and I didn't even feel like I got sold to. Like, how did that happen?" And then I'll think about what the experience was, what the relationship was, what the conversation was like, to be like, "Oh." And then I try to, I mean, of course, recreate that for people in my space as well, because I know everybody in here, nobody wants to force anybody to like, work with them. We want people that are excited and ready and willing to do the work. So that's another thing. Allison, were you going to say something?
Oh, oh yeah, I was gonna say, thank you, Teddy, for reminding me about this swipe files and like the content stuff. My sister-in-law is here, so I have to jump off.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Thank you
Enjoy.
guys.
You're welcome. We'll see you soon, Allison.
Bye.
Teddy, anything else you wanted to add or share before we wrap it up?
So let me think. I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to think about like what's coming up for me right now. But everything has been really helpful. And I believe I listened to all of three, and that's what I used to help me. So I'm ready to go for four. But I think after this talk, I need to go do like just look at my lead tracker and move people around because I hadn't really organized people. And so I'm like scrolling and I haven't figured out the best way to like organize the page, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does
That
make sense.
takes like playing around with
Yep.
um and that would be helpful. Yeah.
Amazing. Okay, good. Well, yeah, and it doesn't, and I said this in the one video when we set up the lead tracker, like yours doesn't have to look exactly like mine or exactly like Liz's. Like yours gets to make sense for whatever makes sense in your brain. So if it makes sense to add extra tags or to move people or to alphabetize, like whatever makes sense for you, because you're the one that's in there and that's using it. There's no right or wrong way to do it, but definitely checking in. And I know that feeling of like, oh, I haven't opened this in a while and I just need to sit down and do it. And every time I do it, I always feel so much better afterwards. I'm like, okay, we're good. I got this. So yeah. Highly recommend that.
Okay, here's one more question that I just thought of. When you're thinking of the 3, 2, 1 and you're reaching out to a cold person, do you count just like liking something they post, or like what do you count as reaching out to them?
Yeah. So when it's a cold person, it's really going to depend on the person and where I came across them and kind of the vibe and the energy. It could look something, it could just be engagement with their post. It could be commenting on their post. It could be sending a direct message just to be like, hey, I see that because like some people, you come across their like Instagram or wherever you're at, their LinkedIn, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is like my person that I would like drive with this person. If that's the case, then I'm going to send them a message and I'm going to say that. I'm like, oh my gosh, I was just came across your content. I noticed this, and this. I see we both have this. So cool. Like that. It's just really opening up an opportunity for a conversation. They could reply, they could also not. It may be, if it's somebody that I'm not really sure about, it could be just like commenting, maybe going to their stories if they have something in their stories and sending something about whatever it is in their stories. Bonus points if it's related to something that I like work with people on. So an example of that, like I've done this before where it's a cold person. They're on my lead tracker as a cold person. They're one of my 3 for the week in the 3, 2, 1. I'll go to their page and I'll say, okay, I'll go to their stories and maybe they have, I don't know, something about their kid something. And so I'll just be like, oh my gosh, like my kid did the same thing, or something that is just a connection. Maybe there's something in there about, an offer that they're bringing out into the world. I might then also post, oh my gosh, this looks so cool. Like, I'm not going to sell anything. I'm not going to push anything. I'm just really creating space for a conversation. So I just maybe, oh my gosh, this looks so cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Okay. No, that's helpful. Yeah. Thanks.
So the idea is not to sell anything in that 3 section. It's just to open a channel for a conversation and to see like where it goes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Is that helpful?
Yeah. Thank you.
Good. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm trying to think of other things that might happen. Okay. Well, if you guys don't have any other questions, we'll go ahead and we'll wrap it up. It was so great to spend this time with you both this morning. I'm so excited, Liz, to have you in this space. Teddy, good to see you this morning as well and hear your voice. And I hope you guys all had a great holiday. And with New Year's coming up, I know, again, like I said, that's going to throw off the schedule and everything, but hopefully you guys get to do something fun and celebrate the new year coming. I know you both of you that are on this call right now, accomplished some really incredible things in 2025, but not only the accomplishment part of it, like the women that you are now is so different from the women that were walking into 2025. So really take some time to reflect on that and own that and allow space for like the next version of you to come in with you to 2026. So
thank you, Sandy.
You're so welcome. Yeah. Okay. I will talk to you both soon and have a great rest of your day.
All right. Bye.
Bye, you guys.